Yo guys, GGZ here. Thought I'd chat about PoE 2. Obviously, I'm excited about PoE 2. It's been a mainstay on my channel for a long time, and I'm kind of maybe a bit of a different channel. What I typically do is I just stream a bit of the league, play the league, and then midway into the league, I might give you an update of how my build's gone and how I progressed it, and I might do a few guides. Some did really well, some not so well. I just like to have a chat, really. I'm not a specific PoE YouTuber. However, one thing that has been cropping up is obviously there's an insane amount of hype for the game. Obviously, I'm looking forward to the game as well. However, there's this weird notion that starts to sort of crop up when a game gets popular, and there's a potential for a dislodgement, shall we say, of your own content creation, bank account, whatever it may be. Because obviously when the new game comes out, you kind of start from a level playing field, whereas previously you've got a massive advantage if you know the game well. So for example, I can very casually whip up a PoE guide and chat about my experiences of the league and how to do all the challenges without really too much effort, because I just have that base knowledge of years of PoE. However, what seems to be happening now is, I don't know if people are scared or something, or maybe they're a little bit worried that their nest egg might be infiltrated by people that are coming into the game. But I'm seeing posts like this, and this isn't to specifically call out people. These are just some examples that I pulled up in 2 seconds. Gazi, someone called Gazi, the swarm of content creators making guides and tier lists already for clicks and views is insane. It's insane that it works to begin with. Well, it's not actually insane, because for any game ever, and to be honest, for a long, long time now, any piece of content ever, if you get in there early, that's the most important thing. It's a reason why getting a key from a developer is so important, and it's a reason why channels such as, say, Worth a Buy, that do really, really accurate, honest reviews, they wait to buy a key themselves because the developers won't give them the keys because they're worried. They play through the game themselves and then they give an accurate review. They will never get as many views as a big content creator that gets the key early and just plays through it and has a mindless chat, because people are foaming at the mouth for information because they're excited. And it's just what happens. So it's not insane. It's just part of the game of content creation. Some of us have had more time to play than most, and not a single one of us are diving into this. Well, there's 2 ways to look at this. If you have had the most time to play the game and are not diving into it, and your job is a content creator, then maybe you're not doing it properly. Maybe you're doing a disservice. I play Gears of War. That was my game. If I'd have got my hands on Gears of War earlier, I'd have tried to explain everything that I could see early on. I might not have got everything right. I might not be totally accurate, but trying to get the information out there first often is important to not just you and your bank account, but your audience. They want to know. So they're basically trying to now pitch this holier than thou attitude of, oh, well, I'm not clickbaiting, so I'm better than everybody. It is an extremely, it's an extremely and disgusting and sad to see. Not sure what, I think he means it's like an extremely disgusting sight and sad to see. These content creators look bad doing it, and it's harmful to the audience. Well, the reality is like I said, right, because I imagine you've never made a PoE video without knowing 100% on anything. I mean, if we were to go on these people's channels, right, and we're to look, now, do we know everything about the game, right? This is what I'm trying to say. Do we know everything about the game? Is that what we're saying? We're now saying, listen, if you don't know anything about the game, don't make content. Why? Because they might pinch some of your market share or something? Is that what it's about? Because I don't see a reason why it's bad that somebody's making a video on a game. All right, maybe they've not got everything spot on, but let's be honest, we all know that. We all know that things are subject to change. I mean, you could argue, let's say, for example, most popular video, my strongest league starter ever. Now, when we talk about league starter videos, we could say something like, well, you actually, following this logic, you actually shouldn't ever make a league start video, because we don't know how all of the league mechanics are going to function together. So we don't know what is going to be the best league starter, so let's not make a video. Like, sometimes you have to put your neck out on the line, and sometimes if you've got some information and you're a YouTuber, you want to show it off. I mean, if I go to PoE 2, right, yeah, I'm sure there are tons and tons and tons of videos of people that have maybe never had a chance to play the game and get in early, and now they're doing it. Now, maybe this guy here, Wild Gamer SK, right? Maybe he's never played PoE 1 and he got access to PoE 2 and is excited and he plays the demo and people ask him his opinions and he gives a bad opinion. Maybe he says, oh yeah, I think that minions are really weak. Yeah, maybe you shouldn't give that opinion because we haven't played the full game. But that's what content creation is, right? It's giving out information as you find it. Now, personally, I don't watch all of this stuff. I might have a click through occasionally, but I try not to watch all of this stuff because, well, I like to go into the game blind and figure it out myself. But many people that have less time and are more limited will want to do something that works. So then when we have like tweets like this that say, I'm simultaneously dreading and excited for watching the incoming massive tsunami of dog shit on YouTube content for PoE 2 from people who have zero idea what you're talking about. Well, I mean, I'm not trying to shit talk these people. I actually watch DS Lily and I have no problem with these people, but it's the sentiment that I don't really understand. I don't like new players having their experience ruined and quitting because they listen to something dumb. I get it, but we don't live in a perfect world. Not every single guide is going to be perfect. And unfortunately, you can't say to somebody, stop making PoE 2 guides, you're bad at them. The audience will decide. That's kind of how it works, right? You make a guide, maybe somebody does get suckered into it, they play it, they don't like it, they downvote it, eventually that channel doesn't do very well. That's kind of how it works. But look, we can't start saying to people, don't make PoE 2 content in case don't make PoE 2 content unless you know everything about the game. Well, we'll just never be making content then, will we? Because when the game launches, we could say, well, don't make a video because this is actually the beta and we don't know how the full version will work. Don't make a video on how shields work because this could be subject to change, or this jet. Like, yeah, sometimes people are going to share information early. And I personally think it's a good thing. You know, I think it's a good thing that new people are getting into the game. You want the game to grow. You want new people coming in. You might find somebody like, say, this guy, Rob2628. This guy might come into PoE 2. I might really enjoy his content. He might give me something to watch. It might be somebody new. Now, I'm not trying to say that these people are like worried for their job and people are going to take over their job, but I do get a slight air of like, are these people maybe a little bit concerned that there are a whole host of new people coming into the game and they'll suddenly have to fight for their top spot? I'm not saying that's the case, but that's the vibe they're giving off. And I don't think they mean to give off that vibe, let me be clear. I think these people are nice people and I don't think they mean to give off the vibe of I'm worried. But that's how it's coming across to me. You know, Path of Exile 2 is a massive game. Right, we know that it's probably going to be one of the biggest games with the longest lifespan. You know, we can say that pretty honestly because most of the time games are dead within a year or there's a new one coming out. Well, we know PoE 2 is going to have a load of support. And I personally think it's refreshing. I think it's refreshing that a load of people are getting into the game and trying things out. And you know what? Maybe somebody makes a guide and it's not very good. I made a guide in PoE 1 early on and it wasn't very good. Then eventually I made some guides, they got a few 100,000 views, they got 60,000 views. I had people come into my stream and tell me they like my tornado shot build, whatever it might be, right? You know, we have this here, a video just popped up now, I've just seen it. Gems now have higher level requirement, ? Now, do I say, hey, Gazzy, don't make that video. You don't know all the information about the gem requirements. You've put a question mark in the title. This could be misleading. Please don't make this. Like, no, people are going to make videos. They're going to enjoy the excitement of the game. Do I think it's a bit silly? Yes. Do I think that the best, exactly. And again, I'm open and honest. I'm not having a go at these people. I respect that video. I think this is a very fair point from Lily. I hope PoE 2 doesn't have a data mining problem because the fun of the game is trying to figure everything out, which is why I kind of I'm kind of leaning it. I'm kind of leaning like I don't want to look at anything because I want to figure it out, and which is why I'm also leaning in the direction of I'm okay with people releasing kind of guides and questions and videos that aren't perfect because, well, we don't know all the information. Does that make sense? Like the only way you're going to get the information is by playing the game, and I feel like just putting out a statement of kind of like, hey, blanket ban, don't make any videos until you know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, maybe it comes across a bit elitist, to be honest. There are loads of new players getting into the game, and there'll be loads of terrible videos. I imagine if I look up Black Ops 2 tips, maybe it's not even Black Ops 2, is it? We're on Black Ops 6. Maybe I'm struggling with Black Ops 6. I'm sure there's some terrible videos on Call of Duty that get views. Right? It doesn't mean that they should stop making videos because they're not perfect. Like, hey, you're not a pro, you don't know what you're talking about with movement. You know, the excitement is people making videos, people making builds, people making mistakes. I mean, I've seen it throughout the history of PoE that when I watch a PoE guide, there'll be somebody in the comments, especially in the earlier days, that was like, actually, this skill doesn't trigger off this skill, and it has an internal cooldown, so you're going to have to get more cooldown reduction than you say. You know, things like this. Like, we don't know everything about the game, and that's the joy. But the joy is also trying to figure it out and talking about it and sharing it. And I don't kind of like this idea of, hey, nobody make content unless you're perfect. Because if we all did that, nobody would make content. So I'm excited for PoE 2. And I'm excited for the new people that are going to play and make content on the game. And I just think we should just enjoy it. It's going to be a fun time. The game's new. People are enjoying themselves. Let's not try squash anybody's enthusiasm because we believe that they might not be 100% accurate. I get the sentiment. I really do. I'm not having a pop at these people. I totally understand the sentiment of, hey, don't put out a dog shit guide and make somebody's experience be bad. But how is that going to happen? The person's going to have to think, I think I might struggle with PoE. I'm going to look up a guide. They're probably not going to just follow the very first guide that they see. They're probably going to have a look at all of the guides around and then pick one. And if they happen to pick a terrible one, we've all been there. We have all been there where we've picked a terrible guide. Sometimes the guide's good. I just didn't like I remember I played Snipe Poison with like ensnaring arrow with pops, and I hated it. I hated the playstyle. It wasn't a bad guide, it worked, but I didn't, fully enjoy it. I wouldn't play it again. But I'm not gonna have a go at the guy. It was my fault, really. I should have done more research. So yeah, if somebody selects a bad build, I'm sure there'll be one or two players that do that, but that's just life, isn't it? So I'm excited for PoE 2. And I don't like the kind of gatekeeping attitude, to be completely honest.